Let's start. There's Hashem. Okay, so you have the parsha of Dvorim, and Dvorim is always by Tisha B'Av, so there's a clear connection. There's Eila HaDvorim, right? Eila, there's Eila Lekecha Yisrael, right? Alela Ni Bechia, so you have the connection with the Eila. You have also Zeh, it's the Chotu B'Zeh, Loku B'Zeh, and the Yeshua's B'Zeh. You have those psukim. So you have Al Zehoy Davi Libenu, Davi from Lashon Davinenu. We were faint. Alayla Choshen, our eyes were dimmed. Al Hartzien Sheshome. So we have to get into what's the Al Hartzien. What's the? It's not that is probably one of the main things of Tisha B'Av. But we have Hine Lekenu Zeh, and it's Kavinu Loi. So you have the Moreh Chazal, the connection clear between Parshas Dvorim. Dvorim is words. So you have the the Eid Mepizari. We have at the end of Dvorim. Eid is Ayin Daled. Ayin is the Eye. Daled is Dibur. We have it in Shema Yisrael. The big Ayin of the word Shema and the big Daled of the word Daled. There's El Acher, the Reish versus Dal. We spoke about that once, but there's Ayin Daled. If you have an Ayin Toiv and a Leif Toiv, then you have good Dibur, and then you don't. And the El is Avak Loshnor. The Gemara says even those that aren't don't transgress and don't speak Loshnor, but everybody's Avak Loshnor. So you have the Simonim. So we move that aside. Let's go into the thick and thin of the Nice. There's Eicha Yoshod Bodod. What's Eicha? What's the significance of the Eicha? Yirmiyahu laments Yerushalayim and the beauty of the Beis Hamikdash. What's this Eicha? So let's get into that. Let's start off with the anecdote. There's a lot of stuff I said many times, but mostly I said. But if I'll say something new, I don't know. But it's not recorded, so I want to say. Then we'll have to a different time build maybe on Tisha B'Av another share. Okay. So let's start off with we're starting now the share. There was an anecdote with you remember the guy that the poyer comes home and he says the rabbi said we have to get ready and prepare to go to Yisrael. Mashiach is coming, and Eliyahu is giving the psura toiva and it's going to make shalom between parents and children, between the ultimate parent Hashem and the Jewish nation as children, and the ultimate between Hashem and his spouse, so to speak, the Jewish nation, and we're going to go up to Yerushalayim Kodesh, and we're going to sacrifice. And the boy Shalom, his wife goes crazy. What do you mean? We just the last 20 years we spent building our little house with the little barn, for the animals, and we have our cow for the milk, and we have the sheep and for the wool, and we have the goats, and we have the chickens, and with the roosters, also for Thanksgiving. You need a turkey. What's going to be when the alter shtetl? What's going to be? How are we going to schlep this? I mean, we just built our house. We're comfortable. And the rabbi says, I don't know, but so go ask the rabbi. I mean, look, she runs back to the rabbi. My wife said, what are we going to do with the cow and the sheep and the chickens, and what going to do with the goats, and the boy we just built out 20 years. He says, and you have a guarantee, everything right? What about the pogroms? They can come, they can kill us out. All of these anti-Semites, what's going on here? And Bekitzer, he's right. So he runs back to his wife and he says, but the rabbi said the pogroms, they can kill us out. These horrific, terrible, low-life anti-Semites. So she says, oy vey taka the anti-Semites. So we'll go back to the rabbi and he should daven that Hashem should take all the anti-Semites that's Yisrael so we can stay here in peace. Ochem vey. Where did that come from? I'm not going to badmouth Chas v'Shalom our kids, but it happened to me also. It happens to everybody. Years ago, this is many years ago. This is many decades ago when I used to travel a lot of conferences. I was young and they invited me to speak here and speak there. So I used to go to these, and unfortunately, many times, too many dozens of conferences, many. And until I realized it doesn't add anything to anybody. When they needed me, fine. I'm not needed anymore. There's so many new guys on the block, and I stopped going to them. But they used to pay it out and everything. The point is that I used to come home and I felt bad. So I felt bad. I used to buy a prize. And every time you buy a prize, and then you get a better prize and a better prize, until when I came home, one of our kids, he once said, it's not like, Tati, I'm so happy you came. He right away said, where's the prize? He looked at my suitcase rather than looking for me. And so I said, that's it. I stopped buying those big prizes. Why? Because you're not yearning for me, you're yearning for the prizes. If somebody, the Rambam says, Oilam kimin hogin noyek. When Mashiach comes, well, there's machloikus. Some Rishonim say it's going to be way bigger than Yotzei Mitzrayim, Yitzis Mitzrayim. The issue over here is that if Hashem sees that we need Mashiach to deal with our personal issues, I'm looking for a better family and a better community and a better city and a better country and a better world and a better time in history, and I'm looking for that moment of Rebbeinu Shloim, you're my banker, you're my provider, you're my protector, and I need but it's all about me. That is the Churban Abed. That's the ganze Churban, the whole reason of the Churban. There are other reasons, but that's the basis of the whole Churban. In other words, when you came to the base of Migdash, it was about not being so selfish and self-centered and narcissistic. If somebody looks at Mashiach just to worship his narcissism, his selfishness, his all about me, self-centered, I need all the attention for me, then that Hashem says, Lo li roizevchechem, Hashem says. So like, why do you need Mashiach ben Yosef? Mashiach ben Yosef, tradition has it that he gets killed, and then Mashiach ben David is more the Mashiach ben Yosef is more the, I'm not going to chas v'sholom badmouth, but it's more the klinkepicness. It's the me and myself and my community, my Torah, my this, my that. I said it a few times already. I was by a parlor meeting of my brother from Irgun Shirei Torah, Rav Elazar Baruch Bald, tremendous Talmud Chacham, great speaker, and a Marbitz Torah second Barnard, and he invited great speakers for the parlor meeting in Flatbush. I forgot the. Rabbi Ralbach's shul, I think, and the Agudas Yisrael. And I remember the Rav Shiva Rav Olshin Shlita from Lakewood, one of the Shivas from Lakewood. And he said there was an incident how a rabbi came to his yeshiva, and it was after 12, and he entered and the smedra was almost full. I mean, it was like 80% full. That he was so amazed at the smother, and it was like they didn't have to do that. Seder ends at 10. This is over 2 hours later, and there's still a Kol Torah and Harbotzas Torah. And he walked and he started to dance out of Simcha Mamish. Look, the Torah Hashem Tamima, it's Meshivas Nefesh. It's Mesamche Lev. It's so pure. Hanachmodim Mizovim Pozrov. And it's better than any gold and any physical material objects, and it's more cherished and it's more tastier than honeycomb, and he's jumping from joy. Toiras Hashem Tamim and Mamish Gewaldig. And then they went and told this incident the next day to one of the Gedolei Hador, and I think he said in English, and the rabbi said, "Oich merakunst, like big deal. I want to see him dancing when he goes to his competition yeshiva. And there's a Kol Torah after 12 o'clock at night. And I want to see then. Go dance with Yenim Simcha. Go dance with Yenim Simcha. Then I'll know you really love Torah and you appreciate Torah, and the dance is a real dance. It's not the Mashiach for me, it's Am for Mashiach." So you have the first story, the first anecdote. send all this anti-Semites to Chas v'Shalom to Yerushalayim and let us be in peace over here. So it's totally it's about us. That's Churban. You have that the guy says, "Where's the present? Forget about the father. Where's the present?" Right? And then I want to get in, and we have to know what's Mashiach ben Yosef. Mashiach ben Yosef is about the Torah world. So it's the Torah Yisrael. Mashiach ben David is the Am Yisrael, not only Torah Yisrael, but the Jewish nation also. That is very, very important. That, if there's question of two, you save Am Yisrael and later worry about Torah Yisrael, because Torah Yisrael is so powerful, it's bigger than this world, and guess what? It'll fend for itself. Of course, we have to fight for it. But Torah Yisrael is the question: who saves the Jewish nation, Shabbos or us? Torah Yisrael will protect itself. You just make sure not to tamper with it. But Am Yisrael is the one you have to save. So let's delve into this. You have a person. Let's take Adam Rishon. Adam Rishon goes and he wants to do the fate, and then he eats the Tzadas, and he was the smartest person. And what was he thinking? So one of the pshatim is that he wanted to be a Baal Tshuva. What is a Baal Tshuva better than? So here we come to the third Beis Hamikdash, which is important. I'm sort of going backwards. I'm jumping ahead, but it's important. I want to create a background. You go to Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi. What's the guarantee that Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi won't be destroyed? Sinas China, like the second Beis Hamikdash, all the Gimel Chamuris, Avodah Zorah Gilas Shvichas Dam in the first Beis Hamikdash. What's the guarantee? And the teretz is that the same kasha of all the doiris and all the tzaddikim and all the mesiras nefesh and all the tears in the cup, and it's not enough. The cup is not full. What's pshat in there? The answer, part of the answer is that when you fall, chas v'shalom, and somebody breaks a leg, a bone, whatever it is, a limb, what happens is, I said it many times, but let me say if somebody didn't hear it, that, you have the hand over here, right? Chas v'shalom, if somebody takes a hand and punches a skull of a head of a person, he'll break his arm. He'll break his arm. The skull is much stronger bones than the bones in the fingers. But if somebody practices and he builds up momentum and he strengthens the tissue, it gets destroyed, it gets ruined, it gets damaged. But then another tissue, and it strengthens every time. And ultimately, that karate guy can take his hand over here and chop and break the wood and break the stone. The brick? It's concentration, to take all the concentration, whole body. The Sfasemis once went over clearly and picked up a Sforenshak when he wasn't that big macho human being. The only thing is that he said he knew how to concentrate, all his koiches to his hands. That's called kolat smoise tamaran, a person that knows how to concentrate his whole body, every limb and every organ, everything. Hashem Yichamoicha, to say Hashem Yichamoicha, Hashem Yichamoicha. When a person builds up tissue and strengthens it, then he can. When a person falls, when you're Baal Tshuva, you already fell. And you came back, and you fell. And you build up your muscles. Now you can't fall. Why? You're immune to falling. You already saw that. You've been there, done that. No, it doesn't talk to me. It's tasteless. I have to watch out. I have to be alert. I have to be aware. Yeah, 100%. You need awareness. You need consciousness. But that's not my issue anymore. That's more, in Hebrew, the expression zekatanalai. For me, that's not. I had a Yetzirah to put on a pacifier when I was a kid. I overgrew that kinderishkeit. I'm an adult. See, adult doesn't do what feels good, what I want to do. People think I'll be adult, I'll get out of yeshiva school, I'll sit in jail, and I'll get out of koil earlier because I didn't do trouble, so it's like a jail. I went out for good behavior, and then now I can do whatever I want. No. That's called a baby that's still 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. An adult by 13 is ultimately, I don't do what I want and what feels good. I do what's right. I do what I know I don't look over here. If you look on your hand, you can't balance. Take a stick and try to balance it on your hand. You can't balance it unless you look on top of the stick. Unless you look at your goal, then you go to straight line. That's an adult. You see the bigger picture. You don't not the claim kepicness. And many times the gullus Jews just sees the here and now, and it's only my yeshiva, and it's my shul, and my chasidus, and my kehillah, my team. It's like a color war thing. It's still babyish. It's like this party versus that party in politics. What's us do with the party? What they don't care about you? Like, what are you fighting for it? It's like the guy sitting in front of the screen to watch a football game, right? And people over ask me, you're not hooked on like Europe onto this soccer. By them, it's football. You're not hooked. I so many they go crazy. What happens when 2012 when they had they built a special stadium here in Lvov for the football. When they lose the team, they go meshuggah, they berserk. They almost kill each other. The streets is like it's like a pogrom for those that lost, and celebration, wild, crazy celebration for those that won, drunkenness and everything else. What's the ganze Sach? I tell him, what is that guy making tens of millions of dollars a year? He doesn't care about me. Why do I have to watch him? I have to watch him win? What is that going to do for me? He doesn't care. Why should I care about him? If you would give me part of that, you give me this money. I'll be as happy as you want. You tell me how to pretend to be happy. I'll pretend whatever you want. Because if you give me, the rich guy tries to impress the girl with his fancy car, and the girl gets nothing from this. What's up with your fancy car? You're not impressing me. Do you give tzedakah with this fancy car? Or do you have a fancy house, a few villas and mansions? What did you give me that? Did you give it to the poor person? Right? So if you didn't, so why should I be impressed with you? I'm impressed if you do a good deed, not because of your money, because of the Mesiris Nefesh. You had such a sudden Yitzhar and sorry not to part with your money, and you did part. You overcame. Oh, now you're being an adult. You're doing the right thing. See, in Judaism, machshava toiva is mitzaref l'maisa, but machshavaro not mitzaref l'maisa. Why not? Machshavaro means you wanted to do something wrong, but you overcame it and you didn't do something wrong. That's called being adult. That is adulthood. And if you're being adult, you're doing the right thing. You're not trying to do. It's not about me, the claim. I'm looking at the bigger picture. Is everybody enjoying it? Is everybody in the room happy? Or it's only I get happy when somebody falls down. When nobody has what I have now, I feel good. That's Tisha B'Av. Okay, so Adam Rishon wanted to fall down and build up muscle, so when he comes to the cliff, he's not going to fall off. The Haredi guy that's from birth, he's always afraid to go to the cliff because I'm not going there. Why are you not going there? Usher, puzzle, it's mamish treif and everything. And then when the rabbi builds up his muscle and his experience, he understands life, experiential life. He knows Allah, he knows the situation, he knows the people who he's dealing with. He sees the bigger picture, he sees the deeper picture. Then all of a sudden many things become mutter, many things aren't puzzle, many things aren't treif. And koyach and the bigger the rabbis get, and the more kaddish they get, and the more connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and they don't serve the God of death, they serve the God of life, and they see the bigger picture. That it's not about me, it's about Hashem, it's about His nation, it's about worldwide. Oh, then the koyach odif, and we're mamish nishtoimim, and when his spol, wow, from his greatness of koyach odif, he knows how to find a way to be done. He knows how to find the good side of Klal Yisrael. He loves people. He loves humanity. He loves the world. He loves the Yiddish kinder, Hashem's children. That's the Geula. That's the Geula mindset. Mashiach ben Yosef is after falling and falling and falling. Klal Yisrael fell for so many generations, and they died for so many generations, and they gave up Mesiris Nefesh, Ad Klois Nefesh, all the way till Mamish giving up the most precious thing, life. They gave up. You know kind of immune system we have today. the Kloisenburg after the Holocaust, it came Teuchacha, and everybody was traumatized. Just get over it. Like let's skip it. And he says, no, say it out loud. I'm not afraid anymore. He went through the Holocaust. He's not afraid. You can't, but there's no, I'm here to stay. Klal Yisrael's Lonetzach now. Now you can't tamper with me. That's the word. Once you build up momentum and you build up your tissue, you build up your muscle, then now we're ready. We're ready. You can't change. You think you can tamper with the Yiddish nation? You have no idea who you're dealing with. So what was the chait? Let's go now back to the pasuk. There's a story about Kamsa bar Kamsa. Who's Kamsa? I don't know who Kamsa is. I have no idea. There's a Hu Gavra, the big Reisig, and it's no difference who he is. And there's somebody Kamsa and Bar Kam. What means Bar Kamsa? Bar Plukta, right? He's the Bar Plukta. He's two polar opposites. One guy is liked and the other guy is not liked. So other years, I say different pshat. One thing is Bar Kamsa, father and son. And, the Hasidic pshat that what do you mean the guy didn't invite you to the wedding? He didn't show up. How did you showed up? Then you would make your friend happy. And good pshat, but it still bothers me. And that's what I'm saying. A different mahalach. Kamsa Bar Kamsa. Kamsa was a central lefty, a liberal guy. And the Hu Gavra was a liberal guy. And he was the Groisig Vir. He had the keys to all the money. And all the rabbis sat there and they daf chasana machen, and the rabbis have to run the moistus and the kehillas, and they won't have money to run the programs. So they have to keep quiet. They're not going to mess with a Hu Gavra with the Groisig Vir. That's throwing a party and having every government official, every great rabbi there. They were afraid. Chas v'sholem. I don't want to don't rock the boat, don't cause machloikas and Klal Yisrael. And Bar Kamsa was the righty guy. And the ideology of liberal leftism, which I'm not against liberalism, means there's nothing wrong with the freedom. We are liberals, not in their word liberal, but in the Torah we're free. We don't have to listen to the Satan, and we're not mispulled from those naysayers and those negative people and those people who can't stand from a Yid and whatever it stands, what Judaism stands for. We don't care. You don't impress me. What's hab ich von dir? I got nothing. You don't provide my life. Hashem does. I'm not in this world. I'm civilized. I don't make a chil Hashem, but I'm welcoming. I'm understanding. I'm accepting, and I'm respecting. But above that, I'm very proud of being a Jew. So let's go to the Maisa. So you have Kamsa Bar Kamsa, and Bar Kamsa is a bone in Yenim's in his throat, because this Bar Kamsa is ideological righty, and he believes in Torah Yisrael, Am Yisrael, and Eretz Yisrael, and Kedushas Torah Yisrael, Kedushas Am Yisrael, Kedushas Eretz Yisrael, and he's not shy about it. So he rocks the boat. You can't have him here because if flicked up, he okay. We have a siren now, air raid now going on. So it's we're coming to Elul almost. So we have the Shofar Shel Mashiach. We're talking about Mashiach. Shine. So yeah. I hope you. Let me close the window, please. Okay. Sorry. So the Bar Kamsa is sitting there. And he shows that although he went through a Holocaust and he still doesn't claim that there's no God, there's no such a thing, Father. If somebody was hurt, so he says, now I don't believe there's such a thing as a father. What do you mean? Even if a father hurt, there's no such a thing as a father? What? Doesn't even make sense. So he came with all the torture. The righty person. I don't mean politics left and right. What I mean to say is the righty person, right? He's the person that got petch, and through every petch he was immune. He fell, but he grew up, and he says, "I'm not afraid to go to the cliff. I'm immune because I tried that." We fell hundreds of times, and now we're immune. We have the tissue, we have the power, we have the know-how. We make siyogim, and we don't go overboard. But the point, and we do have a frame of work. But the point is that I'm not afraid what's Yena Lefty or my Yomru Hagoyim, what the nations will say, and that they'll accuse us and they'll claim this and that. I couldn't kill it. They couldn't kill us. What do we care? Go with what's right. Don't go with what feels good right now. Go with what's right. So he tells him, I'll pay for my food. He says, no, you don't get it. Get out of here. So he tells him, I'll pay for half of the thing. No, I'll pay for the whole event. No, you don't have. There's no toives and The hatred towards a from person is such a deep hatred that nothing in the world, it's not a thing of money. It's ideology. It's way deeper than money. It's way deeper than just a little physical. Your existence, I can't take, and I can't have you here. So the guy he fell apart. He was a meister, and he went to ruin it for the Jews. Why? Because the rabbis didn't speak up. Why? Because they were bought off. Because sometimes you have to think about the klal and the moisid. You can't think about personal. But what the point is, it was a mistake. They should have spoken up. According to this Mahalach, they should have spoken up. If the Mahalach was Bar Council was Samuzay, a troublemaker, then and he always ruined the party for everybody, always crashed every show. So that shot is they would the fact that he was thrown out, they felt it was right. Why did he come crashing in his party for? So, but according to this shot, that he wasn't initially a bad guy, but he felt that the rabbis were so false in the pretense of you don't money is more than the right thing. So why did you stand up for the true ideology, for for not dying for Kiddush Hashem, living for Kiddush Hashem? And living means the life of Netzach, and doing the right thing, make this moment of Netzach. And what happened was, sometimes you have to fight, and that brings peace. That's Lamana Shalom, and not Shalom. Sometimes is not the right thing. Sometimes you have to go ois, and then Hashem Yivorach Hasam Shalom. And therefore he felt. So he went to be a meiser. So he comes back, and the rabbis want to kill him because he's a meiser. A meiser is a right if he's putting the whole life, the life of the Jewish nation in jeopardy. So here comes Rabbi Zechariah ben Akulas. I don't have a Gemara with me in Gittin, but the Gemara forgets about Kamsa bar Kamsa, right? At the beginning, the Gemara says because there was Necher of the Beis Hamikdash, but then that's Amud Beis in the bottom, and then Amud Aleph, the Gemara says by the wide line that says it was Zechariah ben Akulas. He was he was a macher of the Beis because of him. Why? The Gemara says in Visinusai from Zechariah ben Akulas. What's the invincibility? He was humble. Well, this humble wasn't in the right place. It's Vayik Believe B'Darka Hashem. It's you were thinking about Torah Yisrael, you forgot about Klal Yisrael. The Klal Yisrael their lives were at jeopardy. You don't start saying, what will he say? Yoimru, they'll say, mum bekodeshim. As somebody brings a mum, right? The Gemara say he did a mum. If you think about it, what was the mum? It was the eye in the mouth. We said before, eight. Ayin Dalad. Ayin is the eye. Dalad is dibur. He made a mum that for the non-Jews, it's not. The Gemara says it's not. The way I understand the Gemara is for the non-Jews, ayin ra, they don't have issue with that. And dibur, but besmirching, bad mouthing, so they didn't have dibur. But for a Jew, that's a great mum. You can't bring such a carbon to the Beis Hamikdash. There's no place for that in the Beis Hamikdash. So he came, and somebody puts a mum bekodeshim, gets killed. Rabbi Chaim could say people are going to say that we don't get it right. We weren't just. What's them what people say when the whole generation the whole Klal Yisrael's life is in sakona, in jeopardy, and you're going to worry about these little kleinigkeiten, and therefore the Gemara says his invincibility. Don't be no. I don't want to rock the boat. You do what's right. You don't do what feels good. You think about the bigger picture. The Gedolei Hador is they're challenged about thinking the bigger picture. They don't see here, they see far away. They see 5, 10, 20, 50 years, 100 years ahead. Those people, they were supposed to know better. And that's what brought about the Churban. Okay. So, let me. I'm going to get back to this, but let me start with a pasuk. What's Eicha? Eicha is Ayeka. What means the same letters of Ayeka? Abishah tells Adam Rishon Ayeka. Where are you? Where are you? What's the question? What does it have to do with Eicha? Well, what is it called in Yirmiyahu? We learn Eicha Yoshod Badod, right? Moshe Rabbeinu says in this parsha, what's it called? Eicha Esel Levadi Torchacha Maschem V'Rivchem, right? I can't handle it. What's the other pasuk? I think finished in Yeshaya. What's that pasuk in Yeshaya? I don't have. Eicha Esel Lezoina, right? I forgot the lashon. So what's pshat? What were we missing in the Beis Hamikdash? What would you have in the Beis Hamikdash we're missing it now? So the way I understand it, I think everybody understands that when you go to Nasia, I remember when I was a kid, and I still didn't go to Detroit, and later years I joined in, and they would take a bus, and then there was two buses. There was no Greyhound. We took the buses, and later there was the buses of the Einhorn buses, like the Muncie buses, right? And it was still the old buses with the okay, I'm not going to speak Lashon Hara about the driver, Hasidic driver. I'm skipping the whole feet thing. No Lashon Hara here, but the point is, I remember the tshuka, the yearning. I stood there I came with my parents and my older brothers, Rabbi Yitzchak Bo, and then Rabbi Loza, and I remember they went onto the bus, and the bus was full of middle-aged people and younger lights and a few bachrim, but it was something that it was like you'd go to Gan Eden. And they brought all from the caterer the food of Shabbos. They would stick it under the bus. Some half spilled out on the way, the kitzah. And then the chevra went onto the bus, and it was the old coach buses, and the springs and shocks weren't the best. And the oilim started to sing, the song of which is, they say segula, if you stop by police force, the song of Gesegenzich, of Preda, when you depart, you sing the song in the Stone Killer. I lied, and the high part. Okay, there's a new version, but I remember they started to sing this song. The bus shook, mamish, like a spring. It was parked. It just shook. And if it wouldn't be a Hasidic driver that actually enjoyed it, the bus driver would call the police. I mean, if the bus wasn't killed before that, it was totally destroyed. I mean, the whole bus shook like mamish. Something I never saw. And the singing, it was hot. The windows were open. The whole 54th Street between 18 and 19, the whole street was booming from the singing. And I cried. I remember I used to stand and cry. When could I join? And I got a little old and I joined. And we traveled the whole night. And we came there Friday. And we, like two buses. And we used to go to people's houses. And the people looked at us as angels from the Shemayim. A Hasidic group, these, non-Hasidim, and they were like, wow, please, why are you running? You just came, you're already running to a few hours before davening, and then running to the mikveh, and then Friday night, we didn't join them for the meal. We came after the meal. They were, late at night. They were already sleeping. And in the morning, we ran out early, and you're not going to spend, come on, tell us about it was a breath of fresh air. It was igniting the city. Hundreds of people came from all different shuls to the Tisha, and it was unbelievable. The 10th Avenue Shul, Rabbi Grun, I forgot his name. The experience was like such elevation, transcendency, that the whole year you waited for that. It was the Nasiya. So stell sich vor, when I came later, about 35 years ago, I came, it was Shabbos in Miran, and I walk into Miran, and I didn't, I came from America. You have your bed, you have your food, everybody, more or less. And there I came, and I remember, I'm not a pusher. I'm not a chapper. So Friday night, they had some Yad Ezra place and some type of, it looked like a sukkah. So they, within 2 seconds, everybody grabbed the bench and everybody grabbed the table, and there was not a place to sit, not a place to lie down the whole night in Miran. And it got freezing. It became so freezing on that mountain. And I had my bekasha. I was freezing to death. I don't know why. Usually it's hot, but it became freezing. And I was malnourished because I wasn't pushing for food. And I remember I had such pain in my spine, and I stood for hours, and there was nowhere to sit, all muddy. And any place where it's not muddy, everything was taken. I remember in the morning when they started shachas like 8 o'clock, and when somebody went out early to the mikveh, a few minutes before shachas, I asked him, "Could I go to your bed?" And I went to his bed for 15 minutes or something. That was the whole thing. So you can imagine I'm mooching myself, and the whole day after that didn't sleep. And comes after Shalashudas. So they had Shalashudas, and they all go up to the Tzia. And there was nobody there, 5 guys. It was like 100 people, youth, filled up into that small, building of the Reb Shimon Bar. I was squeezed, I couldn't move. And then they start dancing before Ma'ariv. They start dancing, and then 5-10 minutes, and then they do Ma'ariv. And I remember, there was no mustachevim. I could not pick up my hand, my elbow down or up. I could not move physically. And you had big guys around me. I had no idea how I'm going to survive. They squeezed me, not like sardines, but 100 times sardines. And I said, Hashem, just let me stay alive here. I didn't think about breathing. I didn't think. And then they started Ma'ariv. And you have the big guys, the strong guys, and they're shaking. And I'm shaking with them. And then after Ma'ariv, when the real dancing started, that song is it's minor, it's very emotional, and I remember they started to jump, and I went jumping. I was in the air for the next half hour. I just, my feet were on the floor because these guys, they picked me up. I was just go up and down with them. I relented and I said, "Ribono Shel Olam, in your hands." Once I made peace with the situation, I remember that I said, "Ribono Shel Olam, I want my Olam Haba to be like this and never ending, just like this." The Hisoidus, the Tshuka. I was crying. And there wasn't any pain. I was above pain. I was transcended with the Olam, and I said, if this is Olam Haba, such dveikus b'Hashem, nobody knew that they don't have the place. You're my territory. You're my boundary. There wasn't such a thing. I just became part of the klal, meshed into the klal. And whatever happened, whichever way they went, and they pushed for a little here and a little there and up and down, and it was fire. It was a fire that I could just imagine when people come to Nesias of a tzaddik, speak to the people who are over 50 and 60, and they came here 30 years ago with the Rebbes and the old Rebbes, and they came to Mishtatach al Kivrit Tzaddikim to totally give up your conveniences. In the former Soviet Union, you had no toilets on the way, you had no conditions. It was, believe me. And they came, the Nesiah. Whoever knows how to play instrument would come. And they would go to Yerushalayim, start off with 5 guys, go into the next village, the next town, and everybody came because they were singing and dancing, and the Olam joined in. By the time they traveled a few kilometers, they already had hundreds of people, and then another hundreds of people, and then thousands of people, and tens of thousands, and the Olam zinked, and nobody's, the welcomeness, the acceptance, the respect for one another, Olam, nobody said Sarli Mokim Shalom Yerushalayim. When they came to Yerushalayim, whoever had an instrument was playing and singing. They had hundreds of thousands of people singing together. There was no me, you. There was such a serious. When they came to that Beis Hamikdash, they were crying. They were bawling from cry of joy. I was zoiche. I lived to the day to see this is serious. There's tremendous Klal Yisrael. It was all about not me. It was all about the oil, the crowd together. And you come there, and everybody's so welcoming. I want to say a little story, and I want to show Nishkan Klein Kepiks. You should have been. So here's the thing: you have a guy that wasn't in a shul, who knows how many decades, if ever, and he's so down. Life is totally, on the rocks. Mamish destroyed, distraught. Mamish a total failure. He lost everybody and everything, and he says, Hashem, if you're around, if you're here, please give me a sign. I want to connect somehow. I failed. I'm throwing myself on you, but could you go? So he goes to a shul, and he wants to connect. And he walks and he knows so he put on a jacket and he put on something and he goes in a tie and he walks into shul and they're davening mincha ma'ariv or something over there. He didn't know it. And he walks and he sits down, takes a art scroll and he sits down and he goes, he sees a sign in English, in Yiddish and English, Ma'ariv this time. Oh, now this time that's okay. So it's Ma'ariv. So he looks for Ma'ariv evening prayer and he opens up and he stands and he reads and lo and behold, he forgot about his phone. He knows you come into a meeting. He's respectful. He never has it that he comes to any meeting, any serious thing. He's one of those guys. He comes on, puts away his phone, and he's tuned into his family and kids. He doesn't have an issue. He's not addicted to his phone. But, that's what faith has it. That's what faith had for him, that his phone rang. He forgot to put off the ringer. The whole shul started to shush him. And everybody looked with such angry and cruel eyes at him, and they like, oh, what a low life in it. And the rabbi, they're all kanoim. Chas v'sholom, you brought your phone to a shul, and the rabbi after davening, he's walking out, and the rabbi says shalom aleichem, and he gives a hand, and the rabbi says, come on, phone in a shul, ringing in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, disturbing the davening. I mean, what's wrong with you? Oh, you should know better. I just hope you don't do that again. You don't disrespect us again. And the rabbi walks out. This guy was destroyed. If he came in for a sign of love from Hashem, acceptance, respect, mutual respect, they killed him now. Then they would Roitzchim right now, in the name of Hashem. That's Tisha B'Av. That is Tisha B'Av. Look at the bigger picture. You know his background. You know why he came. You know what he was trying to connect. And I know it's wrong to disrespect the shul. But did you see the bigger picture? Did you think narrow-mindedness? What do you think? And you know what he did? He was so distraught. He went down the next block. He couldn't get back to himself. He walked into a bar. And he asked him for a drink, and he's not alcoholic, but a cold beer was hot. So he goes and he asks for beer. He was so zerbrochen, his hands were so shaky, he couldn't get over it. That when the bartender gave him the beer, it banged on the table and the counter. It bounced off onto the next table. It shattered on the floor to pieces. 5, 6 guys got full of beer all over them, and the table and the floors, everything is wet and broken glass all over. And he's ois mensch. He doesn't know how to. He never goes to a bar. And everybody tells him, "Don't worry, everybody makes mistakes. It's all good." But I ruined. No, it's all good. What's beer? We'll wash it out later. Don't worry about it. And the bartender gives him a beer, says, on the house. You can have the beer. No, I'll pay. No. Things happen. People they were so accepting, all these motorcycle bandits. These bums were so accepting, and in shul, they were so cruel to him, in his eyes. All L'man Hashem. I'm not saying maybe there was a sign that he came in, he didn't know b'chayech, and he came to his hometown where he belongs. The Gemara says I think it's a sea lion or whatever it is. The one has a shaila if it's chayis yom chayis yabasha. Does it belong to the sea? So the Gemara says, where does it run b'shas sakona? Where does it run when if it wants to connect? Does it run to the bar or runs to shul? He came to the shul he wanted to connect, and garnished. You threw him out on his head. You told him you're totally not accepted. You're not understood. We're judgmental in this place. We're now reminded in this place. If a person doesn't think big, so in the bar, where he was accepted in shul not, that's Tisha B'Av. That's what we're crying over. So a guy can say, who, me, what, who ben I? Who bin ich? Who am I? So David the Melech says, where's the Siddur? It says in Tehillim, Adam bikor bal yolan nimshal kabeim nidmo. It's in the thing of when you go to Shiva. Where is it? When you go to Shiva, you say this kapitel before Enkel came after the Yom. It's Memtes, the last pasuk. Adam bikor, a person in his bikor, his greatness and glory. V'lo yoven versteht es nicht. Is nimshal kabehemitz nidmu. What does that mean? He's like a behemoth. When a person thinks, who am I? Baz benich, who am I? Bechlal, I can create an impact, a difference in Klal Yisrael. I can change the whole world. I can affect the politics of the world, the narishkeit of the world. What can I do personally? And here's the thing: David HaMelech says, Adam, if a person be caught in his glory, if you're yourself, if you're for yourself and you work for yourself, taka, you're nobody. But if it's your extension of the Rebbeinu Shalom, you're his expression in this world, and Adam, because that glory, the glory of Hashem, is chaz v'sholem bal yovin. If you don't understand that, so I am nobody. But if you know who I represent, you know what kind of neshama nishmas chelik elakam mal. Boy, am I somebody, and I'm proud of it. Not myself. I'm proud of being the shlich of the Rebbeinu Shalom or the shluch of the Rebbeinu Shalom. I'm proud of that. And you, lefty, I don't care what you say. I'm civilized. I'm making a kiddush Hashem. I'm acting very benevolent and very courteous. I'm not pushing it and cutting the lines. I'm not trying to outsmart you. I'm not trying to look down at you. Chas v'sholom, none of that. But if you can't stand Judaism in the land of Jewish land, you got to be kidding me if I give a hoot about what you think. You don't understand that you're nobody, but with the Rebbeinu Shalom, the potential is unlimited, is nachlu b'li mitzarim, without mitzarim. Is nimshal kabei misnid. What does that mean? B'li mitzarim. We have in Ma'ididis, b'li mitzarim nachla. Right, the heritage is b'li mitzarim, without mitzvah, without narrowness. It's kol roitfeh hisigua beina mitzorim. Mitzorim Chazal, at least according to Ashkenaz, the Beis Yosef, different. But we have mitzorim. The Navi says mitzorim is mate. First mates is Shivas v'Tammuz, and the second is Tisha B'Av, right? So it's Meitzer. So we have the 21 days in between, which is it's really 22 days, but that's the Shai. Kol roid fer ko. Those the Baal Shem Tov's pshat. Kol roid fer ko. Roid fer ko. You're roid if you pursue ko the Eibishter, because if the king doesn't have a home, so he's not home, so he's a lot more accessible. So kol roid fer, he's sigur. You can reach your king beina mitzorim between these two mitzorim, which is Shivas v'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, right? But if somebody keeps Shabbos l'moshel, is zoichet nachla b'li mitzorim? That's what the b'li mitzorim nachla, because Shabbos is you're commending, you're participating, and you're giving edus, you're giving testimony. That's the song of Menucha v'Simcha, right? What are you testifying? Ki l'shish kol b'rum b'aydim. right? And that in 6 days Hashem created the world, and it sustains, and it stands. So if you are part of Brias Maaseh Bereishis, if you participate in Shabbos, you become a participant through witnessing it, and you bring about the kiyum of Shabbos in the physical world, and you're part of it. And then you zoichet the nachla. So even if the Gemara says, even if it's oivid avoid zar keder enoish moichlin akol v'noisev, and the Gemara says, what's the word? Right? He's the moichlin. Why? Because you're denying. If you're participating and celebrating the oneness of Hashem. He's the owner of the world, of Zashkocha Protis that we have in Kiddush. You have is the Zeichel Maaseh Bereishis, Zeichel Etzis Mitzrayim. Zeichel Marash, he's the boss and the creator, and Zeichel Mitzrayim is Zashkocha Protis even today. It's not he created the world and he left it. No, he's Zashkocha Protis. And when you symbolize that through the Kiddush, the toast that you pick up, and then you celebrate the Shabbos, and you enjoy the Shabbos, Oinik Shabbos, you showed you participating willfully and with simcha, with happiness and joy. And then you gain the moichli on all the Avodah Zarah, because Avodah Zarah is denying that, and here you're celebrating it. How do you know if somebody's for real? Why does Moshe Rabbeinu get angry and break the luchas? Because he sees the oilim. If Avodah Zarah Mela, he doesn't really mean it. But if a fake Avodah Zarah, he's under the pressure, and the church is giving him money or whatever it is, trying to bribe him, or the scholars, right? But when a person, he saw the dancing, he saw you enjoying that, that's where you know. If a guy enjoys Judaism and enjoys Shabbos, Hashem says, Amoichel, even Avodah Zarah Kedorenish. But if so, is Nachlu Belimit Sorim, you get back at Yisrael, and you get Nachlu without any limits and any narrowness, right? So, David HaMelech says, if somebody is Odom Bikor Bal Yolin, if you're Bal Yolin and Odom Bikor Bal Yovin, if you don't understand that the greatness that you believe Mitzarim, if you connect with Shabbos, you connect with the Rebbeinu Shalom, you have zero limits. He can do anything. Then is nimshal kabemis nidbu. It's like behemoth. What's a behemoth? What's the saying? My best explanation is the anecdote I always say over. I happened to say it yesterday and the day. I use it a lot over here in Lvov. Not about, but there was a little kid in Yerushalayim, and he was playing horse and rider, and he was, and the old rabbi, after late Ma'ariv, comes to his area, and there was a few trees next to his house, and a little piece of land, and he comes into this claim, and he hears some crying, and he walks over, and he says, "Oh, who's crying?" And he sees a little kid on all four, like a horse, and he's crying. He says, "Why are you crying? What happened?" He says he's playing Ross and Haira, Sus Verechev, Veroichvoy, and the kid, and the kid went into his house for a drink or so a few hours ago. It was still light outside, and it's probably a few hours, and he doesn't know, but it's a very, very, very long time. He didn't come back, and he left me and myself. So he's crying. So Rabbi says, "Why can't you get up and go? Who cares about your friend? If he doesn't care about you, get up and go." So he says, "I can't, I'm tired." He says, "Oy, you're tired." He looks closer. He says, "Oy, Taki's tied." So he sees he's tied to the tree. So he goes around the tree, and he, slowly every step, and he goes around the tree to untie him, and he sees it's not even tied. It's hanging on a hook, on a nail. So he tells the kid, "It's not even tied, oy." So the kid says, "I know." So he says, "If you know, so why didn't you untie yourself? And go." He says, "But I'm a horse. A horse doesn't know how to go away from untie himself itself. If you claim kepek in narrow-mindedness, that's not gula, that's golus yid. That's a golus yid. You don't chap what's going on. You don't see the bigger picture. A guy comes in for chizuk, you give him just opposite. Choose your fights. Don't think bigger. Think broader. Nimshal kabemus, you nimshal like a sus. A sus doesn't know that he can reach for higher, aspire for higher, and be effective. Let me give you a pasha de dugma. A yid comes into shul, and terrible day, a lot of problems, and he has no cup for anybody. And above his shekel, he puts into the pushka, or the quarter he puts into pushka. When they come in for the kinyan sforim and the bedeka bayis and the binyan bayis and whatever they come, they go 2-3 pushkas, and above that, I don't have koich even to give somebody a good word today. I don't have koich to smile. At least when I daven, fill yourself up by davening. And at a moment, even 1 month during davening, say, Rebbeinu Shalom, it's my toivelech vani beroiv chaz b'chov beisecha. With your chesed, I come to your shul. Eshtacha veicha kodesh ani Hashem ahavti moim v'sech. I love your place. And you come in and you say, you know what? It's not about me. Let me just give it a good vibe, a good vibration. A good vibe, throw it into the air. Forget about your problems for 2 seconds. Leman de klal. You come to shul. What am I bringing to the shul? What about my place? What about? It's all important. What about my davening, my concentration? I don't want anybody to drill me and disturb. And it's all important. But what am I bringing with me? Was brings to some tish? What are you bringing to the table? Try to bring a good vibe. You make it. Walk over for every one person, for every holy person, for every große knack and schwitzer and yefei nefesh, right? The schmeck, you know, the finest schmeck type of guy. This guy that doesn't want your favor, he doesn't want your compliment. It's beneath him that you should come and give him a good word and a compliment. Although for the most part it's not true. But let's say, naniach, I challenge you, every one person that doesn't want you to tell him a good word, you'll have 1,000 people that nobody cares about. Nobody ever tells him a good word. Be that one. People should know after a while, in this shul, instead of people looking down at you, right? This is the guy. I'm the guy in my shul. I'm the guy in my work. I'm the guy in my school, in my yeshiva, in my cheder, in my work, in the store I go to, the shchenim I live with. Everybody knows this is the guy. He's Magdim Shalom first. He hello, good Shabbos. They don't answer. I don't care if they don't answer me. You think I care if they don't answer me? The thing is, I want to know if I gave out good vibes, if I projected good energy. I want to know that I try to pick up this person. Yeah, you come to any place you come, try to find at least one person every day to give him a good compliment. And after a while, somebody tells me, I was in a place where the new chief rabbi, Rav Ber, I forgot his first name. And he wasn't like right next to me. He was, he was in the crowd, and I spent a few hours there. And then later he came over to me, and then I spent with him probably a few, I don't know, 2 hours, whatever. And the reason he came over and he said the following, you know what, I paid attention that you gave dozens of people in the last few hours, you gave them compliments. Each one very precise, very detailed. You're amazing. He says he wants to get to know me. So he became my friend. And then we spent like 2 hours after that together. It was in Poland. My point is that I didn't even realize I'm doing that. I don't do it enough, but I hope my kids would learn something, if only that one thing. And I'm sure they do. Walk in and try it. Don't leave the place until you make somebody feel like $1 million. And go to the people who are not popular and give them a good word. Find a good word. See something good, see something, say something. The Ayin Toiva and the people paid. So what's the Yisoid of the Tisha B'Av? What's the Churban? Vanihi beinenu kachagovim v'chenayinu beinei. That's the whole brach of Tisha B'Av. I thought of myself as an ineffective, unimpactful grasshopper, and therefore everybody saw me that way too. If I can't create any momentum, if I can't help anybody, if I can't be beneficial, so if you're davening for yourself, you're selfish as Einzach. But comes Chana, and Chana says, Vayspal Chana not El Hashem, Al Hashem. That's Al Zeh Hoyo Dovi Libenu, on the Zeh that we said before. Al Eile Choshklanenu, Al Har Tzion. Because if it's Al Hartzion, not you don't come to El Hartzion for yourself, you come to Al Hashem. I'm davening for the greater picture, not for me. Then the Chana says, of course I want it through my conduit, through my tzina, my channel. Of course I want to have a child to bring, but it's not a child for myself because I need my kids. It's because Allah Hashem, I'm davening for you. I want to bring about a bracha and a Yeshua, and please give me a child. Help me help you. I want to help you on this world. I want to be your conduit, your shlucha, your shlich in this world. And please help me. Give me the bracha, because the more you give me parnasa, the more you give me nachas, the more you give me gesund and fortitude, and the more you give me, I'll have more of an attitude of gratitude. So this the V'yiniyah b'einenu k'chagovim, says the Gemara, that brought about the Chorban in V'senusoi from the Rabbi Chaya ben Akulis. Don't shy away then. Don't say, was Yenet Zogen, what do we kill? Was Yenet Zogen? Spare us that and save Klal Yisrael. And there wouldn't have been a Churban if they wouldn't have such sinner and hatred. But the point is, if you don't shy away, you Vayigbali b'darkei Hashem, you enjoy Judaism and you walk around with a pride, so much humble pride, that people will say, this group, they're just so fulfilled, satisfied, and that's roye v'zoiche b'nechemasa, and then b'dirnyosa and b'simchosa, not tomorrow, roye now. So let me go a little bit about that. This is a very important thing. You come to Beis Hamikdash, so we said, like you go into a Nasiya, and like the people come to Europe to daven. And I'm not talking about the fancy guys with the fancy hotels. I'm talking about people, they came to Yerushalayim, they all slept on the street camping. Remember as teenagers, the camping. The anticipation, we're going to go camping. The whole year you wait for that. And you bring your gear and everything you need for that, and the flashlights with it, and all the zachen, and you bring the little thing with I forget, what is it called? Propane gas with the little oivula, and you bring the whole gear, and you bring the tent, and you put it out, and you have a meal and a barbecue on the fire with the potatoes and the franks and whatever it is, and whatever the shashlik, the meat, and then the barbecue and all that, and then a shena meal, and then you sit down around the fire, and you have this kumsitz, and if anybody has instruments, musical instruments, they add on, and it's zinged, and it gets darker, and people are crying, such a tshuka to really connect. Don't give me the false attention. Don't give me the self-centeredness. Just together, not one guy trying to outdo the other guy, but just singing nicely together. And they're crying with tears of joy, but moreover, the tears of tshuka, we're missing. And they cry, and then they go to sleep. This togetherness, comfortable, not comfortable, it was the greatest moments of their lives. In the whole life, they look back at those moments. So you came to the Beis Hamikdash, and everybody slept outside in tents, mostly, for the most part. And there was no tzar li'amokim, nobody's complaining, everybody's positive and not bad-mouthing and all that. And you come to the Beis Hamikdash, and you look at Kodesh HaKadoshim, and when the Churban comes, the Gemara says, it says, Ufnei Mishalochim, right? The Kruvim, on top of the Oren was Pnei Mishalochim, and they looked like a boy and a girl, and their wings of like an angel. So it looked like they were hugging each other. And then Upnei Melaboyis, right? And all the faces are towards the house, meaning to say not to each other. So the Gemara says, when you do Ratzon Shemokim, it's when you fulfill Hashem's mission in this world, everything is fine. But if not, in Shemayim, they're not happy, so they're not facing each other. That's an ace. The shaila is when they came before the Churban, right? When they came to the Beis Hamikdash, they saw it's Panei Mishalachiv. What's Pshat? So obviously the Chazal teach that Hashem showed Pashup Pshat is before people, before you have a close relationship before you leave out of town. But also the point is when you realize you're gonna it's being destroyed, you realize you're losing something. That's when you start appreciating the person and the thing. When you lose it, that's when you start appreciating it. When you realize you're losing it now, that's when it's Pnei Mishlochav. You start I feel so bad that I'm losing something I had for so many years I didn't even appreciate. Okay, so that's Pasha. But the pshat is Hashem says shofach, kol mi shloi bona. What's it called? It wasn't built. The base mish kilu nechrav biyama, right? Chazal teach. What's pshat? It's a murder chesed. If it's nechrav biyamov, meaning to say that Hashem is not going to kill the Jews, He's going to shofach eitzim, he'll spill over his wrath on wood and stone instead of on people. Murder chesed, right? So that's why it's Pnei Mishalochav. So I'm getting to this. You come to the Beis Hamikdash and all that kedusha and all that spiritual transcending, sort of altruistic nishzich, the bigger picture of togetherness and non-judgmentalness, all in all, and you come to the Beis Hamikdash with the singing and the dancing and the shtoikas and the shtapchas hanefesh and the smordike soiris, and you take the behemoths and you do away with the behemoths. You burn them. You say the essence of me is not the animalistic side of me. It's the transcendental side of me. It's the caring and it's the yearning and it's the connection side of me. Let's burn up all these behemoths as a symbol of physical is not where it's all about. And you get that transcendent inspiration. And you stand there and you ask the question, Ayeka. And you say, Lerois v'lerois, you have to come to see. What are you seeing? You're seeing, is everybody all right? Did somebody walk into shul to connect and I didn't see it? Does somebody need a compliment and I don't see it? Someone needs a good thought and I don't see it. You got to look around. You got to see. You got to be observant. You got to have awareness. And later, that's how you see. If you help somebody, Hashem lets you see His presence a lot more tangible. And Velerois, show your better side, show your warm, kind, welcoming side. And you say, Hashem, I'm not only here physically, but my neshama, my nefesh, my leiv showed up. I showed up, I showed up, I'm present at the moment with a father and a child. I'm present at the moment, a brother and another brother, I'm present at the moment. I'm here for you. It's not about me, I'm here for you. So what's Hayeka mean? Wo bist du? You come to the Beis Hamikdash, and Hashem says in the Torah to Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm showing not licha, I'm showing to you, I'm showing you who you are. Come to the Beis Hamikdash 3 times a year, because I want you to see, as mirroring yourself, to see who am I, Taka? Am I personally, privately aligned with the Beis Hamikdash? Am I in coherence with the Beis Hamikdash? Am I synchronized with the Beis Hamikdash? Or I'm totally off? And the second question of Ayeka Vubisti, not only personally and privately, Ayeka collectively, with the tzibur. Are you bringing benefit to the crowd? Are you beneficial to the nation? Are you bringing Kavod Shemayim to Klal Yisrael and to the Torah and to Eretz Yisrael? And that's the question. Am I aligned? And you came 3 times a year and you gave in your input. And if you give in, you can take. Whatever you put, you can take. And collectively as well. So we have we have Dayeka, and the bracha of Ayeka is koifer b'yechuda shaloilam. If you koifer in the alufa shaloilam, right, the boss of the world, the Elikim, from the Anoichi Hashem Elekechem Doilam, that's the Aleph of Ayeka, of Eicha. And the Yud, if you do away with Aseres Hadibris, second brach, the Kov, the Brisi Le'esrim, the Bris Le'esrim was the 20th generation, from Adam to Noach 10, from Noach to Avram 10, and Avram made a covenant, a Bris with Hashem, a Bund with Hashem, on the forever, for Netzach Netzachim on the 20th, that's Eicha, the Chav, and the Hey, it's Chamishachum Shitoyer. which we start today, the last Eila Devorim, the last words of the last 5 weeks of Moshe Rabbeinu started from the beginning of Shvat to Zayin Oder, which is the biggest lecture Moshe Rabbeinu gave, a detailed lecture, not hurting people, of course, and so on. So you have the Ayeko, you have the Eicha, and we lament, Yirmiyahu, Eicha Yoshu Badod, this Ayeka is all alone. Yerushalayim, Hashem says, nobody comes to visit me. And when they come, they think about themselves. They don't really care about my other kids. It's Eicha, the Ayeko, the collective Ayeka is screaming, is Yoshu Badod, it's all alone and it's crying. Where are you? Where are you? So in that we say, Al Zeh, we said the Eila Hadvorim, we start off Moshe Rabbeinu says, Eila, Al Eila Ani Boichia. That's why I'm crying. Al Eila, on that, I cry. And we say in the Eicha, Boche Sifke Balayla, when it's dark and it's dim, and we can't see each other. We're just seeing ourselves. His Boche Sifke Balayla, when it's shver, a person has it difficult, and he's crying, and he's Boche Sifke. You know why he's Boche Sifke? That is the Nechama. The Nechama is when you cry, and I just before I explain this, I just want to say, and what time? Oh yeah, I'm very late, so I just want to. I'll finish. We say Elitzion Barev, Kmo Yishobetz Rev, Psula Chagura Sak al Bal Nurev. We cry, wail Tzion. Tzion, the Yishalayim Varer and the surrounding cities. Kmo Yishobetz Rev. Like a young woman, Chusula Chagura Sak, she's donned a sack al Bal Nurev. It's like it's about a mother and a young wife. It's about you yearn for your lost husband, sort of, and you love him so much, but he's gone, and you wait and wait and wait for him, and then when he comes home after such a long time, the bonding, the yearning, and just imagine the wife says, "So where's the money? You went to Parnassa, so where's the money?" What do you mean you don't miss me, right? So here is no, I miss you. I miss you. It's not the money. I miss you. I might need money, but I miss you a lot more than the money. And then a mother that cries. So I want to give this little muscle that everybody knows it. You have a guy walking by a building, and he doesn't know the place, and it's a closed building, and he sees a little window, but it's closed, a tiny little window, and there's a door. And he's crying and wailing, and it gets more intense and more intense. And he's walking by, and it gets so intense. He wants to do something about it. Somebody's raping a girl, a young woman, and he's, Mama, he can't take it. This thing is my daughter. If it would be he's going mishugas. He goes, tries to open, he bangs on the doors, and nobody's answering. Bangs on the window, nobody's answering. It's going mishuga, and all of a sudden the crying stops, and he says, how could you do that? How could you do that? That's it. He killed the lady. She was begging, crying, and such pain. And how could you let that happen? And then somebody comes to the door a few seconds later. Who was knocking? Was it you? And he says, "What's going on? It's cruel. How could you do such a cruel?" And she says, "Calm down, young man, calm down." And she says, "I can't let you in, but I can go inside, and I'll open that little window. So here's a crate. Take this crate next to the window so you're able to see it, and stand by the window. There's no visiting for, and he goes to the window. She opens the little window, and he peeks in, and he sees this mother clutching, mamish, crying tears of joy, and clutching her baby with such a smile from ear to ear. It turns out, she explains to the man, you thought you knew the whole picture. It was pangs. It was pain, it was crying, it was wailing, because before birth it's painful. But after falling, you build up your muscle. All that Mitzrayim was in order to become the perfect exemplary nation. V'havta love the stranger. You know what it feels like. Now we know what it feels like. We know how to prevent a churban bayis shlishi. All this pain, misunderstanding with a churban bayis shlishi. Understand that and try to change. So, bochei sivke balayla. Why the Gemara says on the pasuk, Sisu itu mesois kol mesablu malea, right? Sisu, rejoice. Those that were misabel, they cried for the Churban Beis Hamikdash. So the Gemara says, if somebody's misabel Churban, zoiche. There's a few versions. Zoiche v'roya b'nechamasa, zoiche v'roya b'simchasa, zoiche v'roya b'binyasa. It's all good, but the point is, if you see that every block is building every block is building another block, another brick. Every hardship and milestone is another brick to build the Beis Hamikdash. So it's already Zoiche V'Roya now, B'Nechamasa and Yeshuasa and B'Vinyasa and the B'Simchasa. You see it now. It's already now. So here's the two very strong points, and I finished. You know why why we need the crying and wailing for Yerushalayim? Why do we need? Because the more you miss it, the more you get it. You know, the Kloisenberger Rebbe, he cried after the Churban. He said worse than the whole Churban was that the Churban Europe, the Holocaust, was afterwards some Russian or whatever soldier came to redeem him, right? He said, I thought Mashiach is going to come to take me to Yerushalayim. I thought Mashiach is going to, after all this, losing 11 kids, a wife and 11 children, and going through such terrible, unspeakable, this despicable hardship, and all this awfulness, and what? Some guy is coming to redeem me. That means nothing. When now no Mashiach, there's no redemption, the ultimate redemption. We're still under the pettiness. We're still sinners chinam. We're still the Kloisenberger Rebbe said that when they shaved off his beard, he said for one good thing there was that there was no difference between the riches and the poor and the most scholarly and the most unlearned. We were all the same face, same. Nobody knew the difference. Same clothing, same rags, same everything. He said, and after that, we're going back to what we came from, the same as the old, chas v'sholom, and that was the most difficult thing for him to bear. So we have to remember, if you didn't hear anything, please listen to this. Bochei sivke balayla. Why cry? Because, in the Holocaust, they never cry. You know why in the Holocaust they didn't cry? You know why in the Beis Yisoimim and Yisoimis nobody cries? Because when in the Holocaust they felt there's nobody to cry to. When you know that there's nobody to cry to, who are you going to cry to? That's why you can't cry. Bochei sivke balayla is, I know, cry, because da Av Rachman, it's called Menachem Av. Afterwards is Menachem Av. First part is Av. So da Atata, there's somebody to cry to. So if Yosem would know there's somebody to cry to, he would cry. He doesn't cry because there's nobody to cry to. And Hashem says, Bochi Sivke Balayla, because there's a listening ear. I'm with you. And you know who else is with you? All my kids are with you. And they see a boy, a Yosem in shul, they're with you. There's a Av to cry to. That's Kol Misabel al Yerushalayim. You cry. That means you believe that there's a Father that's there for us. And that's why Zoiche Beroya now, B'Nechamasa, and B'Simchasa, and then B'Vinyasa ultimately. Finish with the story. I said it many times, many years, but I try to say it always. It's a very painful story. There was a mother that she waited many years. She waited many years to have kids. I don't know, like 20-something years. She finally gets pregnant. All the tzaddikim and all the tzedakahs and the chesed, and they went to the kvarim, and finally she gets pregnant. It was in a time they weren't so advanced in technology like today. So a few dozens of years ago. So she tells she goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Nitshayach, either mother or son, both can't makashaled." So he says, "How can I decide?" Ask my wife. So they ask the wife, and she says, by all means, she's ready, no question, ready to give up her life for her child. Let him live. So he says, the husband mixes in, and the husband says, "I'm sorry, but you can have enough." No, 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 no. I waited 20-something years. She's too old to have more babies. That's it. It's no question. They're gonna save the baby, and she'll die. So the husband is overwhelmed. He's speechless. He doesn't know what to say. He's so embarrassed. He doesn't know. He says, "But I love you so much." And she says, "Please, please, by all means, you'll get married to somebody. You'll find another mother for this child. But please, I don't even have a question, not even a suffix, no shiloh whatsoever. I want to bring in a kid. I did my part. I love you very much. I brought your kid to this world, and that's it. Take care of it." But one little request she has. Please, I can't expect him to say Kaddish as a kid. If he's born the day she's died, so how can he say Kaddish the first year? But please ask him once that when he becomes Bar Mitzvah, he should say a Kaddish for her. That's all she's asking. The Kaddish, he says, by the Bar Mitzvah, let him say a Kaddish for her, by his Bar Mitzvah. So the father brings up the child, and he explains what kind of beautiful woman. She was beautiful inside out. What a humble, yet smart, strong, but soft. So smart and talented, so precious, the best vibes, most easy to get along, so altruistic, yenim, everything. It was mamish, a dream of a wife. And naturally, she gave up her life for you, but she had one request. You should say Kaddish or Bar Mitzvah. So he prepared him. He knew how to daven easy, and the Kaddish he knew backwards and forwards. And comes the night of the Bar Mitzvah. And the night of the Bar Mitzvah, the whole family is waiting. All the uncles and aunts, the grandparents, everybody's waiting. They're waiting for 13 years. Every year, it's sour, bitter, sweet. Every year, the Yortzeit is his birthday. But it comes his Bar Mitzvah. They're all prepared, and they can't wait for this Kaddish. And they have tears in their eyes. And he's just about to do his Kaddish Yosem. And they daven Ma'ariv, and he davens for the Amid. Like nothing, mamish, mumbling, zero feeling. Now comes Aleinu, and now he's going to say his Kaddish Yosem. And they're all tearing up, and they're choking, and he's garnished, nothing. He's Kaddish fast, and he finished the Kaddish in 2 seconds. They were distraught. It ruined the whole momentum. And the father takes the boy to the side and he says, "We prepared for this. We trained for this. I spoke about it hundreds of times, literally hundreds of times, all through your youth till now. And everybody waited for this moment. And your mother came down from Shemayim, and you couldn't give her just 1 minute of your life." And the boy says, "What do you want? I didn't know her. Well, like I have my life without her. Who is she to me?" The Rebbeinu Shalom says, "I gave up shofach chamos aleitzim v'alavonim. I spilled out. I released my anger on wood, on doimim, on inanimate objects of eitz and evan, wood and stone, not to spill my wrath on the people who really did wrong, weren't loyal to me, and spit in my face. I gave up myself, my Beis Hamikdash, I gave up for you. And not even one tear on Tisha B'Av. You don't even care. You're not missing me." So Hashem says, if you're not bochei sivke b'layla, if you don't cry in Tisha B'Av, that means you don't miss me. You say, just send me the money, give me the prizes, but you don't want me home. You don't care about me. You don't want to connect with me. The most important thing about Tisha B'Av is to yearn for the time that we can be bigger than ourselves, transcend our little pettiness, and say to B'nai Shalom, there's nothing short of Geula, real big-time Geula. We want to be connected. Just connect me to you. I want the Kirvas Elikim. And that's what we're crying about. We're missing the Kirvas Elikim. So on Tisha B'Av, at least shed a tear that you don't have a tear. At least shed a tear you don't even know what you're missing. At least shed a tear for those that are crying for real reasons in life, not b'chiyah shulchina, and say to B'nai Shalom, if not for me, take my tears and let it be for those that really need it, and give them a Yeshua. And if you think about Yenim, you get the Yeshua first. Bez Hashem, in our times, we should live with Thank you very much for